Jeff Stockton is an award winning Celtic harpist, singer, and storyteller. He has been weaving song and story on the string since 1996. His latest project, The Honey Roads, is a sweet and soothing homage to the honeybee. It features violin, harp, voice, and percussion, and almost all the instruments are played by Jeff. The album takes the listener on a journey through summer fields to sunlit hives. I was just so curious about Jeff and his album, I had to get him on the show for a chat. Hi, Jeff. How you doing?
Good. So nice to see you, Dawn, and so nice to join you today.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on The Rise today. I'm so curious, what is it about the honeybee that inspired you to create this album?
It was a couple of things. One of them is it's just really inspiring for me when I watch them outside. These creatures just fly towards beauty, and when they dive into it,
Hmm.
they take that beauty into themselves and they create something that nothing else on the planet can create, something sweet, something soothing, and I have always found that really inspiring. A few years ago, when the honeybee went on the endangered species list, I found that to be really heartbreaking. I've paid
Hmm.
attention to the honeybees for a long time because of their place in Celtic myth and Celtic folklore. And from the time where they really began to be in crisis, it just seemed to me that there needed to be more ways of bringing my own attention and maybe the attention of other people to these incredible creatures and helping them become strong again.
Wow. Flying towards beauty. That's such a great image. I was checking out the album artwork and it's really gorgeous. And I love all the words that accompany each song. They're almost like a little small invitation to the listener to go a little deeper. I'm wondering, as you were writing for the album, what came first? Was it the words and poetry or melodies?
That's a great question. For me, it's always the melodies, and I find them on the
Hmm.
harp. They find me on walks through the forest. Uh, I always think that the melodies find me. And some melodies are really clear. They are just meant to be the voice of the harp and maybe another instrument to come with it. I always know if it's an instrumental. And some melodies seem to have this invitation that there's something that needs to be said or sung along with it. And with those ones, it's always an interesting process to see if the lyrics will come very, very clearly and fast, or if they need time to evolve. But for me, it's always the melody first.
Hmm. I love that. What are your plans for this album? What do you have up your sleeve for the next little while?
For the next little bit, I do a lot of work as a storyteller in residence in schools in the Calgary area. So this is my peak season, and I give everything I've got to those kids because I just think our young human beings are the most amazing thing in the world. And once that starts to wind
Hmm.
down as the weather warms up, I'm really looking forward to sharing the music. There'll be a couple of little events locally. I love doing something here in the little town where I live. And then, of course, Calgary is where the violinist lives. So I'm looking forward to doing a little show there, and we'll see what happens after that. But for now, that's the next step that happens with the album is just to be able to savor the music live. I adore the
Mm.
way that the harp and especially the violin interplay with one another, and there's just nothing like the two of those instruments live. So that'll be the next thing.
Wow, you've weaved such a beautiful tapestry of visuals and sounds. I really do hope that I can experience this music live one day. Um, Jeff, thank you so much for your time and for your love of all things Celtic and all things bee. It's been a real delight listening to the album. I'd love to play a track now. Can you perhaps choose one from the album and tell our listeners a little bit about it?
I think the one I'll choose today is called The Honey Queen.
Mm.
So it is track two on the album, and it was a song that there was a summer day about a year and a half ago where I'm on the deck and I'm a little embarrassed to admit this, but I drop everything when honeybees show up. They're just so fascinating. And I looked up and there was the most enormous bee I have ever seen in my life. It was clearly not a regular honeybee. It was a queen. And the queen goes on
Mm.
one flight in her life. and she gathers everything that she needs in that one glorious flight. And she lingered there for about 15 minutes or so, just kind of hovering over the blossoms. And it was just so extraordinary to see uh, her. She is the heart of every hive. She is
Mm.
the measure of wellness for the honeybees. And so this stately little dance came in the weeks afterwards. And I ended up mixing it with an Irish traditional song that I've always loved called Ship at Full Sail, because the Honey Queen, she didn't seem to fly. She was sailing on the summer wind. And so that is the imagery that came along with this instrumental piece.
Wow. You are a storyteller, Jeff. I have to say, you I'm mesmerized by your descriptive qualities. I'm a puddle of goopy honey right now just listening to you talk. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and for doing what you do. And you do it so well. From the album The Honey Road, this is The Honey Queen by Jeff Stockton.